Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome to I Was a Teenage Exocolonist, a game that could be about anything really. There's no way to know what our character might do or be in this here video game. I actually really like this title. There are a lot of games that are going for this like one particular cool aesthetic with like a one-word impactful name that doesn't necessarily tell you a lot about the game, and they all sort of run together after a little while. This, you will never get it confused with any other game, and I actually really appreciate that. So this is another of these sort of long narrative, reading a lot of text and then making a character choice type games that we've been playing a lot of here on the channel. It's just a lot of these came out last year. This game in particular has the most detailed content warning I think I've ever seen on anything, which I think is actually really rad. So this is the list of content warnings here. And all of these are clickable buttons that go into considerable detail about what specifically is in the game in case you have a more specific or more stringent concern with something. I'm not going to click on any of them here because they do get they're quite spoilery. But just let this serve as sort of a blanket content warning. This kind of stuff can happen in the game. It seems like it is a game with potentially some pretty dark content. So let us all be aware. And with that, let's head in. Let's find out what it is like to be a teenage exocolonist. My understanding is that this game your character starts quite young, and you do progress through puberty at a certain point. And as a trans person who didn't do that the way that I might have preferred, I don't know exactly how I'm going to feel about that. I guess we'll find out. This game deals with mature subjects and may not be suitable for all players. Please see our content warnings in the system menu. Yeah, man. Okay, they're really laying it on. I am wondering if this game is going to turn out to be much darker than I thought it was. Well, okay, it's a pretty harsh open. You wake to chaos, a confusion of light and heat and smoke. Fire. Your head is pounding. You must have hit it and blacked out, but you aren't sure how you got here or what on Vertumna is happening. There's something important you need to remember. Your stomach lurches as the floor crumbles beneath your feet and then collapses. Your body aches and your eyes burn from the smoke. A figure appears through the flames. It's your friend. Your friend? Wait, why can't you remember her name? She's gesturing and shouting at you, but all you hear is a ringing in your ears. Well, it feels like asking her what's going on is probably going to be of low value if I'm not even going to be able to perceive her answer, so let's just climb out. You try to stand up, but one of your legs folds uselessly underneath you. It won't hold your weight. Your friend pulls you out of the rubble. She throws your arm over her shoulder and half drags you toward the door. Through it, you see a deep, eerie twilight, dark blue and cold against the heat of the fire around you. Glow season. Oh hey, it's a dog. Glowing eyes. You shake your head to clear your vision. Is that some kind of dog? Like from Earth? Oh, perhaps that was not as friendly an expression as it was supposed to. The creature howls and lunges, its jaws open. I thought it looked friendly when it was in the doorway. I may have misread the situation slightly. Okay, well, you know, maybe it is going to turn out to be really dark. It's not a super happy opening. There is something that the style of like the objects and the characters that we've seen so far is reminding me of, and I can't quite put a finger on it. I want to say it's like there's some kind of like 90s Nickelodeon vibes going on. You are born on the Stratospheric, Earth's first colony ship, halfway through its 20-year voyage to a wormhole at the edge of the Sol system. Your parents run the hydroponic gardens which make fresh air and vegetables for the ship. Like the other colonists, they bravely chose to make this one-way journey to the uncharted planet Vertumna 4 in the hope that they could escape Earth's troubles. They had you the old-fashioned way, merging their genes like they merged their cultures and traditions. They name you... Okay, so they would have a preference for a name that has to do with the sun. I'm gonna just go ahead and take over control of this here ship, though. Do I want it to be all caps? No, I'm gonna say no. They were all caps on the buttons, but I don't know if it'll matter. You're a bright-eyed child with an active imagination. Sometimes too active, your mom says. Use the sliders on the left to choose pronouns and late teens appearance. What is the meaning of a slider for pronouns? Okay, this is not really a slider. It's just 3 options. They've chosen to represent it in kind of an interesting way. Do they allow, like, full customization? Oh, they do. Wow. Like, really full customization. Holy crow. This is really cool. We're going to go ahead and, just go she, her. But that's really neat. I really appreciate that. And so this is probably not actually a slider either, right? It's probably just 3 appearances. Let's go, like, slightly Mask of Femme, and we'll see. We'll see if that makes a difference. I guess I would have had to have played it with it all the way at Femme to really know. You have vivid dreams of things you've never experienced. Dirt under your feet, skies overhead, endless jungles, and strange animals. You wonder if this is what Vertumna will be like. Every child on the Stratospheric is given 1 genetic enhancement. By age 6, you see the first signs of yours. Eagle eyes, extra fingers, absorbent brain. I'm sure they mean, like, you know, facts, absorbing learning, but it sure does sound like it's got a little bit of extra in case you get like a hemorrhage or something. Super strength seems kind of out of line with the rest of these in terms of utility. And I'm assuming this is not just like perpetual calm, but rather like a lot of control over your temperament. Actually, no, you know, like eagle eyes and absorbent brain. This is probably like will give you an eidetic memory and stuff. I guess I see a lot of value in all of them except the extra fingers. I'm really not sure. So what do we have over here? We have some stats. We have some basic amount of empathy, and then charisma to command people and speak in public. They're grouped. There's like social and intellectual and physical. Okay, this seems like pretty standard. That's interesting though. It seems like pretty standard RPG stuff, but they are divided a little bit differently than I might expect. In a lot of games, animal handling or whatever would definitely be more of like a wisdom type skill. But yeah, there's a sort of a familiar, or there's a physicality to it that is just as important. That's an interesting way to break that down. I very often play brainy characters, but I kind of want to do eagle eyes. I feel like perception is so important in these games, noticing what your options are. Also, it'll be a nice change of pace for me from real life, where I am damn near legally blind. Your eyes have both eagle and owl DNA. Oh, okay, literally eagle eyes. So you have superhuman long distance and night vision. That's pretty rad. Not only can you see all the way to the holo projector from the back of the classroom, but you can read Professor Hal's private holopalm notes. Sometimes they say confidential, which is exciting, but you don't understand most of the big words. Yes, this is definitely like the skill of getting to know things, or the enhancement of getting to know things you aren't supposed to know, which seems like my kind of thing. It does seem like night vision is probably of somewhat limited use in the sci-fi future, because like, I mean, even in the right now present, everybody's walking around with relatively powerful flashlights on them all the time, right? So we've been given this thing, which gives us +1 skill on physical challenge wins. Okay. Is it like a card? Is this a card-based system? Also, dig the prominence of the illustrator credit. So +10 perception. We gained a memory, Eagle Eyes 1. Okay. The other kids think you're a little weird, except we're getting to choose like our compatriot. So I guess to some extent we're starting to make a choice about personality here. Do we want to be paired up with a kid who is like an interesting counterbalance to what we're going to do, or do we want to be like partners in crime? You know, if we have a best friend who is studious and mature, that gives us, I think, a little bit of license to be a troublemaker. I like that dynamic a lot. Studious and mature, Tangent. Also, I think Tangent's just a cool name. That's a good sci-fi child name. Tangent sits right up front by the holoprojector and always has her hand in the air. She and her twin brother Dis drifted apart when she started genome treatment to make her body conform to her gender. Today, Tang is the girl you always knew she was, but her relationship with Dis is worse than ever. Oh. Okay, yeah, Tangent is absolutely the right friend. So, I gain a little bit of reasoning and engineering from knowing her because, you know, the osmosis of information exchange. And, okay. We'll figure out what these cards mean. There's numbers on them and stuff. Yeah, Tangent. I like this. I like the vibe. You're 10 years old when the ship finally reaches the wormhole. Professor Hal says it's like a doorway to other star systems, with the planet Vertumna 4 on the other side. You run emergency drills for months to prepare. And when the day finally comes, it starts with a rumble. Then things start to slide off the tables. You hurry to gather near the escape pods, just in case. The emergency area is crowded with families. It's going to be fine, Samhain, your dad soothes. We'll be through the wormhole and down on the planet before you know it, just like we've practiced. Your mom gives him a sharp, worried look. So we're gaining stress. What is this one? Rebellion? Okay. All right, the troublemaker meter. Fair enough. And a reputation, like, within the colony, I guess. Okay, so yeah, there is some kind of like card game thing going on here. We have our friends tab. Okay. Red emergency lights switch on as a siren begins to sound somewhere distant in the ship. You try to breathe slowly like you were taught, but you're very scared. You look out a porthole. The stars are gone. When you're frightened, you do not have the toughness to put on a tough face and don't have the organizing skills to find a distraction, so you just get in touch with your emotions. All that requires is empathy, which we were born with, I guess. You bawl like a baby. It feels good. Yeah, that's fair. That does. That might be me in a panic situation. You aren't the only one. Nearby, your classmate Tammy has tears streaming down her cheeks. Mars is trying quietly to console her. She sighs as your crying makes Tammy wail even more loudly. Your dad puts his arms around you as you let it out. So that did de-stress us a little bit, gain some friendship, and we got the memory of the time we stress cried. Oh, here comes that stress again. You wait. The shaking builds. Then everything starts to get very weird. The hallway stretches and stretches, and you're stretching too, your arms impossibly long. Your head feels like it's slowly filling up like a balloon and contracting down to the size of an atom at the same time. Is this the wormhole? You hear the distant, ominous squeal of metal giving way as the ship shudders and lurches in slow motion. The weirdest part is a sense of déjà vu. You're sure this has happened to you before, and you know, somehow, that everything is going to be okay. You would think that realization would come with a little bit of de-stressing, maybe. The shuddering reaches a crescendo. You hear an impossibly loud crunch and feel weightless for a few seconds before gravity slams you back against the wall head first. You black out. As you slip unconscious, you feel yourself twisted out of time. It's today, yesterday, and tomorrow all at once. And more than just one tomorrow. Lots of them. Different tomorrows. You find yourself in a place that you know from your dreams. Tilled fields, dramatic ridges, and a stranger, but also not a stranger, grinning as she grabs your hand. "Hurry up," she says. "I'm not going to let you miss this." Distantly, you can feel the ship's shaking has stopped and hear your parents' worried voices. Feeling safe, you slip further into the warm embrace of the stars. You drift. Okay, we did de-stress a little bit. Gradually, your consciousness reforms. You wake up in the medbay. The medbed under you plays a soft tone and an automated voice speaks. 2 weeks have elapsed. The patient's cranial injury has completed healing. They may now be safely discharged. As the fog lifts from your head, you realize something seems different about this room. It's so bright. You try to focus on the window. Something is definitely different. These all seem like they would hit you pretty hard. I guess we're like at a pretty low perspective. We're probably looking up. It's going to be the sunlight or the trees, most like. Trees? Instead of the familiar blackness of space, bright light from twin blue and yellow suns is streaming through the windows. You peer out and see fields, glass-walled domes, and walls ringed by giant mushroom-like trees. There are construction materials everywhere, and people walking around, outside, on the ground. You better get out there and join them. Yeah, that seems fair. I think our character probably does not do a lot of cautiously at this point in her life. And I'm sure Tangent has feelings about that. Oh, this is just back inside. The ship's quarters are where everyone sleeps, eats, and hangs out. The private bedrooms are small. You share one with your parents. So colonists spend most of their time in the big common area. There's a lounge and cafeteria, and a creche where all the little kids and babies are raised communally. Oh, Tammy jumps as you step out of the ship's quarters behind her. "You're awake. Are you all better? You better go see your dad." She points southeast towards some geodesic domes. Okay. Click on characters to talk to them. I've played a video game once or twice. Tammy looks concerned. "You slept for so long after you bumped your head," she says. "I bet your parents were worried. Your dad is working over in geoponics near those domes. They're called greenhouses." "I'd go with you, but this is as far as I've been from the ship since we landed," Tammy stammers, blushing. "It's scary outside." It actually is probably like, if you were raised in like tiny ship corridors for your entire life, and then at 10 years old, all of a sudden you had access to the outdoors, that probably actually would be kind of difficult to process. Okay, and obviously we're totally gonna go do that, but we're gonna look at everything else first. Command is a warren of long hallways with doors off to tiny nondescript offices. Everyone you pass seems to be hurrying off to something important. The end of one hallway opens into the supply depot, which works as both requisitions office and general store. Beyond it are cavernous warehouses stacked high with supplies from Earth, now being gradually unpacked and distributed. And there's a notice board. Colony food shortfall, minus 100%, low. Colony security rating, evaluating. Upcoming event will be hosting our first annual Vertumnalia Festival during the second month of Dust. Notice, take precautions outside the colony boundaries. Xenofauna have been sighted. Survey teams are investigating. Well, that's exciting and also potentially very dangerous, as we well know. Current Council and Administration, Governor Udicott Command, Chief Administrator Seek Command, Security Chief Rhett Garrison, Chief Engineer Instance Engineering, that's a good name for a Chief Engineer, Chief Cultivator Flulu Geoponics, Chief Steward Antecedent Quarters, and Chief Surveyor Melatonin Expeditions. Yeah, this game definitely has like an aesthetic I'm really digging. It's not quite Star Trek, but it's definitely something in that sort of like hopeful science fiction, which I have to say is not the kind of science fiction that I generally engage in, especially lately. It's a nice change of pace, I suppose. Here in engineering, a low throbbing noise comes from the engine room, which provides power to the colony. Other corridors lead off to the teaching labs and medbay. You know the route to your classroom well, but the rest of this wing is off limits to children. Congruence, the ship's onboard AI, beams down at you from a nearby holoscreen. Don't forget to study hard, Samhain. Hi, Congruence. Oh, you are clickable. The ship's artificial intelligence, a vastly powerful computer system which runs everything from life support to HoloNet archives, and she has a sense of humor, too. And also, an indeterminate age, as AIs sometimes do. What have we here? The Garrison. A small team led by Security Chief Rhett was enough to keep the peace on the Stratospheric. To stay busy, they also ran the exercise gym and sports ball courts. They actually... Okay, sports ball is the name of an actual thing. Here on Vertumna, the Garrison has expanded fast. They're building a huge wall around the colony, and have an outdoor firing range and a big covered dojo. And best of all, a regulation-sized sports ball court. This is what sports ball looks like. It's like volleyball, and also... What's that thing where you're supposed to hit the ball through the weird hoop with your hip? Listen, ask me anything about sports. Hey, look, it's Dad. Samhain, your dad gives you a big warm hug. I'm so happy you're finally awake. Dr. Instance thought it'd be best to keep you asleep while your noggin healed. Your mother and I thought you might sleep away the whole year, my snoozy little gooseberry. Oh, he's a little embarrassing, huh? He checks your head and looks relieved. He was clearly very worried about you, but covers it with jokes and smiles. Yeah, no, he's a little bit of an embarrassing dad. That's fine. It's adorable. Welcome to Vertumna, he says, gesturing around you. You've never seen the Stratospheric from the outside, except in pictures. The ship has been separated in two, and parts taken off to form other buildings and the big wall around the colony. The alien jungle creeps right up to the wall. Only the geodesic greenhouses pass outside it, dotting their way up the hill. How did you do this so fast? You've been asleep for weeks, my dear aubergine, he says, and these geodesic greenhouses practically put themselves up. But some of this is only a quick temporary solution, he admits. We'll keep growing and improving things. One day our little colony will be as big as a whole city. Oh, before I forget, he pulls a package out from his satchel and hands it to you. You blink and stare at it blankly. Don't you know what day it is? He asks. You honestly don't. You remind him you have been asleep in the medbay. Happy birthday, he shouts, wrapping you in a warm hug. Wait, your birthday? Already? You feel a dizzying sense of déjà vu. You stare hard at the wrapped package. You know exactly what is in there. You remember it. No, you dreamed about this package some years ago on the ship. Inside will be a small medallion in the shape of a sun that your dad made by hand. It would be extremely wild if it just happened that I woke up on my birthday and he just carrying our present around in case we woke up today. Something feels off in a way that definitely feels like part of the narrative, right? We're going to wake up and find out that this was all a weird simulation or something. I'm going to go ahead and just tell him I know what's in it. In either case, we get the medallion. Okay, yeah, I'll tell him we know what's in it. You describe the medallion, and your dad tisks as he opens you the package. Oh, who ruined the surprise? Was it Seek? I'll bet it was Seek. They hate fun. He grins and adds, don't tell them I said that. You start to explain that nobody told you, but someone shouts your dad's name. Listen, I'm so sorry, Samhain, but I have to get back to work. There was an accident when we landed, and don't worry, we're going to fix it, your mother and I. Professor Hal is expecting you in classes if you're feeling up to it, your dad says, pointing west to the engineering wing in the rear end of the bisected ship. Then he points to the large doors you came out of earlier. Or you can relax in your quarters until you're feeling better. Our quarters. Until you're feeling better. And we'll talk later tonight, he says, then kisses the top of your head and ruffles your hair. Have a wonderful birthday, Samhain. I love you. I think we're already in. Look at the look on our face. We are already in kind of that awkward age, and we're a little embarrassed by the public display of affection. So I'm just going to give an awkward thumbs up. To enter buildings, click on the door or the flag beside it. Then choose an activity for the month to gain skills in advance time. We get 13 months a year, 10 years to the end of the game. Okay. Geoponics. The greenhouses have different biomes inside, growing plants from Earth that might belong in a desert, jungle, or temperate forest. Some are so delicate you have to spray off any germs in an airlock before you can enter. The seasonal garden outside is dotted with blue nobodies, little flowers with what look like wriggling creatures stuck inside each one. A sign explains it's a decoy, meant to attract some kind of flying predator to come pollinate the flower. That's very fucking weird. Hold on a second. Sorry, I just realized something. Okay, just had to fiddle with a different window there for a moment. Okay. And it seems our initial area of travel is extremely limited. Okay, no activities available to us in here. So we can go rest or we can go to class. Will we get... Okay, yeah, we get an indication of what we earn for doing so. So relax in the lounge might de-stress us completely. Whereas I'm sure this will give us some knowledge, right? We could choose to study life sciences or the humanities. We'll get friendship with Tangent either way. She just wants us to be studying, please. Hold on. Hiya, Samhain. Anemone seems really at home here. She's rolling a sports ball around with her foot, making patterns in the weird blue snow. This stuff is different from snow on Earth, she tells you, because it isn't cold, but it's still neat and you can make stuff out of it. Your foggy head clears a little. Anemone is simple, physical, and real. You always feel grounded near her. Hey, why aren't you in school? She smacks her forehead. Oh, school! I wondered where everybody was. I guess I'm going to be late for humanities class. She does not look very worried about it. It's okay. Professor Hal is chill. He won't mind. But we should probably go now. She grins and starts running toward engineering. Hey, race you! Oh, no fair. She's getting a head start. I'm honestly really thinking about just going back to bed. Because, like, I do have a serious head injury. But I guess... I don't know. When I was this age, as much as I did not like school, and systems had already let me know that they did not like me, I do feel like the desire to see my friends probably would have driven. So life sciences or the humanities. I'm gonna go humanities. Are they different amounts of stress? They aren't. I'm fully clicking on this because it's 4 skill points instead of 3. Welcome, Samhain. Professor Hal greets you. I hope you're all warmed up and ready to study the glorious humanities. History, literature, language, media, and philosophy. And yes, if you're lucky, we'll have a little ancient Earth poetry, too. He seems excited about that last bit. I bet a lot of the students are less so. By the way, if anyone is interested in taking engineering classes, please register through Congruence's scheduling system when you have a chance. She'll be helping me teach them. Today's assignment is an easy one, Hal says with a yawn, because I was up late repairing Congruence's subterminal and could use a nap. I'd like you to write an essay on what the Vertumna colony means to you. Well, I mean, it's literally my entire life in a way that I did not consent to. So I guess like we have a choice here whether our character has really bought in on the basic propaganda of the mission, and this is propaganda in like a totally value neutral sense, not like saying it's a bad thing, but like, there's got to be posters up on the interior bulkheads and stuff, talking about the importance and the value of the mission. I think that's maybe not our character. Our character sees all that, of course, but is less convinced by it. I think for our character, it is literally like we make relationships with people. All of the people we have ever known are here. This is what life is. My friends are all here. You write about all your buds and the fun things you do together. When Hal wakes from his nap, he asks a few students to read their essays to the class. Mars is annoyed that you hardly mention her. Well, you aren't really friends, so... Listen, I'm a small child. I do not have time to be friends with everyone. When you work or go to class, you'll play a quick card challenge as the month passes. Move cards to fill the 5 panes and make the best hand you can. Order matters. If your total in the circle on the right reaches the goal value, you win. Depending on your cards, some challenges can't be won, but you still get a reward for doing your best. Interesting. Okay, so bonus points for flushes, groups of the same color together. Bonuses for pairs, the same number together. Okay, so suit and value matter. You get a bonus for a straight, quite a large bonus, it seems like. The more cards in a flush, pair, or straight, the higher the bonus added to your total. Cards can also affect each other and can be rearranged to find the best score. Okay, this is cool. This is a cool little system. So this is a bad hand. This is a crummy hand. So we have +1 from our sun medallion. Here are my whack ass memories. Okay, it is sufficient. Thank you, sun medallion. I guess the sun medallion didn't actually do it. So wait, 2 from card values +6 from pair straight flush. So we have 2 2s. Oh, the value is not showing on this this flush, but that flush is making up the rest of the points. Okay, cool. You worked well this month. +1 creativity, and also all of the other stuff. Your skills increase when you work or go to school, with extra skills if you win the challenges, and a kudos bonus if you make the highest scoring hand with your cards. So did I not... I wonder if I somehow didn't do that. It seems like that should have been... Working also increases stress, which prevents you from working if it reaches 100. So sometimes you're going to have to take a month off. All right, but I was eager to hang out with my friends after having been asleep for so long. Your parents have been working from first dawn to well after dinner every day. You know growing food is an important job, and it's vital to get crops in the ground right away, but there seems to be something more than that. It's such a change from growing up on the stratospheric when you saw them all the time. You stay up and wait for them at night before going to bed. Though you can tell they're exhausted, they make an effort to spend time with you. Yeah, so something extra is wrong and they're not telling the kids because they don't want to worry them. That's interesting. It definitely feels like childhood where you can get the sense. Adults give off vibes way more than they think they do, and kids are very perceptive. But like nobody will tell you what's going on, and so like maybe I'm just projecting my own experience here. Something's wrong and nobody will tell you what's wrong because they think they're protecting you, and so you start to get these anxieties that creep up. I'm sorry we haven't seen much of you, little gooseberry, your dad says. Your mom watches as she works a pebble out of her gardening tiller, which also serves as a crutch. How have you been holding up? I learned some stuff in school. I'm glad to hear that, your mom says. I want you to study hard, work hard, and stay out of trouble. Your dad smiles. And Professor Hal will give you kudos if you get good grades. You can spend those at the depot once it's open. You know, says your dad, raising an eyebrow at your mom, I think there are lots of different ways to learn, and school is just one of them. You could learn from working on a hobby or by helping a friend. Your mom shakes her head and sighs, though you can tell she's trying to put on a gentle expression. We both agree that this colony is an experiment, and that means we're going to do things differently than on Earth. You're old enough now to start making your own decisions about your education and future. And if that means you find your own way, we'll accept that. Okay, it seems like she has been talked around to this position somewhat begrudgingly. Your dad puts a hand on your shoulder. We'll be proud of you no matter what you do. Try talking to your friends. They may have ideas for how you can spend your time. And come by Geoponics, your mom adds. We could use your help. Well, it does seem important to make sure the plants get planted. The character art is very adorable. Okay, so we are mid-quiet, mid this season. Let's just look around. Oh, Mars. Hey, Mars, I'm sorry. I would like to apologize. A sharp whistle interrupts your thoughts. Hey, Samhain, Mars calls out to you. Come here, I have a job for you. You walk over to Mars, who's sheltering from the snow under the ship's overhang. It's so gross here, she complains. This spark snow would ruin my good clothes. At least on the ship we had climate control. Ugh. Tammy made me some soy sweets, but there's no way I'm going out there in all this weather, she continues. Since you like running around in it, could you fetch them for me? I'm going to say yes, because I want to make up to her that I upset her with my essay. Oh, good, Mars claps. She's probably just down the hill near our quarters. Mars sighs. She's scared to take more than a few steps from the door. All she wants to do is hide inside and make sweets. Okay, I mean, we're probably going to have to help her deal with that at some point. Somebody should. Right, sorry, the quarters. Yep, I know where things are. Tammy is staring obliviously at the sky, smiling to herself. She startles as you approach. Oh, hello, Samhain, she says, putting her hand to her chest. Do you need something? Yeah, did you have some soy sweets from Mars? Tammy smiles at you. Oh, it's so nice of you to help out Mars. She's a very important person, you know. She hands you a box wrapped in a pink and yellow scarf. One order of mango soy sweets made fresh this morning. Please tell Mars that she can have the scarf back, okay? She used some of her kudos to nanoprint it for me because it's so dusty here, but I think I'm getting used to it now. Tammy smiles again and tucks her hair behind her big elven ears. Mars is so cool, she says fondly. Sometimes she's kind of bossy, but I know she really cares, too. I wonder if that's like the beginnings of a crush, or if that's just, sometimes young kids like really idolize a friend or something. Mars puts out her hand expectantly. Give it here. Well, I'm not going to do this, but if we did, we'd have the memory of doing so, which is good for our physical stuff. If we had persuasion skills, we could maybe get something out of her, but I feel like that would be a shitty thing to do here anyway. Here, I brought these. I did the thing. Please don't hate me anymore. Okay, loyalty. Loyalty to the colony. You hand over the box of soy sweets with a smile. Mars takes it and giggles. You're such a good sidekick, doing everything I say. Well, alright, I'm not necessarily 100% cool with that. Pardon me. She opens the box and hands you a soy sweet. Actually, let me take a drink here. Some days, the old traumatized esophagus does not want to play along. Your tip, she tells you. Oh, an administrator Seek's looking for someone to do delivery jobs for the depot, she says. I don't want to do it because, ew, running around out there? No. Just go through here, she says, gesturing to the door behind her. Tell them I referred you. Yeah, all right, I guess. I am good at running from place to place, apparently. I am not allowed to do this. Toughness or organizing 10 or greater. Okay. Well, we'll come back. Is the notice board any different? It is not. Okay. So we're fairly stressed. We should probably rest sometime soon. Actually, I'm kind of curious. Let me just look before we go talking to anybody else. If I relax in the lounge, is it minus? Okay, it's minus 100 stress. It completely dumps all of your stress and also lets you take a card out of your deck, which seems awfully useful and maybe a good thing to do early. Like, you really want to try to make the best of it, though, right? You want to get rid of as much stress as possible. I don't know. You see Tammy sitting quietly near the entrance to the lounge. You've known her for, well, your entire life. Back on the ship, I don't think I used to tease her. I think our character is probably a little bit of a troublemaker, but like in a sort of an upward direction, difficult with some of the adults. We probably used to play. Tammy had the best doll collection. After her mom died, her dad used all his nanoprinter creds to print her a different doll every month for a whole year. Well, that's a bummer of a story. Her ears perk up when she sees you. Oh, hello, Samhain, she says. Her voice is soft and dreamy, like a beam of starlight. Do you want to play dolls? I feel like... Yeah, sure, I have time, sure. 1 empathy, 2 friendship with Tammy. Is the friendship thing, is this on a scale of 100? Like, is 2 like a very small amount? Yes, it is on a scale of 100. Okay. Our dad's name is Geranium. Also, our mom's important. Flulu, that was one of the names on the command board. Okay. Interesting. You don't think Tammy will ever be too old to play with dolls. If anything, she has even more of them now. She takes you to her quarters and brings out the entire Spacey Stacy doll collection. A disturbingly realistic baby with real bowel movements. Cool. And 2 super fancy posable dolls named Lily and Tilly, who can be programmed to move on their own. Tammy isn't very good at the programming, so Lily and Tilly just roll around awkwardly when you turn them on. Hey, just like real babies. You cover quickly by saying they must be breakdancing at a club. The 2 of you spend the afternoon making up stories of their rise to stardom as professional dancers. What would be the value? Why would you want... Dolls never made very much sense to me, I have to admit. And there definitely, when I was a kid, there were like somewhat realistically proportioned baby dolls who would do things like you would feed them and then they would like sometimes spit up. And I was always baffled by like, why would you, who wants to deal with that? I'm not much for babies, I guess. Okay. Before we talk to Dad, I want to make sure we've seen if anybody else is out here who maybe could use our help. Anemone, what's up? Anemone is bumping a sports ball with her wrists, trying to keep it in the air. Heads up, she shouts and bumps the ball in your direction. Think fast. Look out, a ball is flying toward you. I'm going to try to just bounce it back. I think with the eagle eyes and everything, this character could be a little bit more physical, and we don't play that kind of character all that often in things. I tend to be very like studious and nerdly in games. So let's try to push our physical stats a little bit. We'll bounce it back. You bounce the ball back and forth with her, trying to see how many times you can rally and keep it going. Anemone tells you about the new sports ball court, a proper regulation-sized court, way bigger than the little zero-G one on the Stratospheric. Her brother Calm is teaching the junior sports ball team this year. For a brief moment, I read that as corn with a K, and I was very excited. He's so great, she says. He's good at everything, especially spiking. He's coaching me to play awesome like him. You should come join us. Unlocked sports ball in the garrison. I think maybe our character is going to be into that. Again, it's just like a nice change of pace from the way I usually... Oh, hey. Oh, this is Dis. This is Tangent's brother. You see Dis sitting on the ground beside some bushes. Is he hiding from somebody? He seems to be watching the gate in the wall to the south, where grown-ups are coming and going. Kids aren't allowed past the walls, he says quietly, without looking up. And they say there's nothing to be afraid of, but then why do we need walls? You stare at the gate and have a sudden rush of memory so strong you think you might faint. You imagine something crashing through the wall, something enormous and dark and wriggly. For years in space, you've had half-remembered nightmares of monsters, of your ship being destroyed, of sifting through wreckage that used to be your home, trying to find something. Your dad always told you the dreams weren't real. Breaking from your daydream, Dis whispers, I think there are monsters out there. Yeah, I believe you. No, you don't, he says. You're being sarcastic, I can tell. Nobody believes me. He turns his back and ignores you. No, they're huge and wriggly and dangerous. So I think our character here is not shy about the visions and memories and stuff. It's not a thing we're going to try to hide or pretend we're not experiencing, and we're just going to get a reputation as the weird kid who's always talking about the weird dream she had or whatever. Stop making fun of me, Dis pouts. You're as bad as Mars. Okay, I was trying. Hi, Mom. You find your mom hard at work setting up the greenhouses with a small construction crew. You've seen these plans pinned to the wall of your family's quarters for years now. These geodesic domes will house the more delicate plants from Earth. Spinach, tomatoes, maybe even fruit. She takes a swig from her canteen as you approach. Looking for something to do? She asks. Remember, Samhain, you're responsible for your own schedule now that we've landed. You can decide how to spend your time, so long as it's productive. She points toward the engineering wing in the back half of the stratospheric's severed frame. Professor Hal's still expecting you in class, but a well-rounded education includes practical application. You're old enough to help with the work around here. She claps her hand on your shoulder. I've got another minute. Anything you need to know? Ooh, can I join expeditions? Oh, you're too young to leave the colony. It's dangerous. She shakes her head. Your father would be worried. There's so much we still don't know about the world out there. Let the adults find out. Maybe you can join them in a few years when you're older. She gives you a stern look. She isn't going to budge on this one. For now, you stay inside the walls. Yeah, what are you doing in geoponics? She looks down and nudges at a sprout growing between her feet. It's green, the color of earth plants. Well, we're doing our best, she says, but it hasn't been easy. I just hope the potatoes and corn can handle the weather here, she says, glancing up at the sky. I hear it rains like hell in the wet season. She takes a long look at you, up and down. You're growing fast, Samhain, but you're still too young for real farming. Instead, well, there's a lot of soil that needs to be hauled. Seeing your disappointment, she nudges you on the shoulder. Oh, don't pout. It'll help build those muscles. You'll need them now that we're out in the real world doing real work. Out here, we have to rely on our physical strength. She flexes her biceps. Your mom is really strong. I do like the idea of, like, with this mother, growing up as a kid who is not like, it's not that I don't have an interest in science, but I am like very interested in practical application. So working in the greenhouses maybe does make sense for us. What's happening in engineering? Hal's teaching classes on life science, engineering, and humanities. If you pass all your tests, maybe he'll let you work there in a few years. Your father thinks that you're old enough that school is optional. I don't agree, but I'll be honest with you, she says, gesturing to the fields. We do need every pair of hands we can get. If you want to work with me here in geoponics, I'd suggest studying life science. If you don't have a good grasp of biology and ecology, I'm going to stick you on shovel duty. Yeah, okay, that is a complicating factor. What's the garrison? Security Chief Rhett is organizing a sports ball team. You used to play, didn't you, back on the ship? It'll be different here with the planet's gravity. Of all the adults in the colony, Rhett and your mom are the most like soldiers you'd see on a holovid. For a moment, you think your mom's going to suggest something else. Then she shakes her head. You're too young for defense training, so don't worry about that yet. Just enjoy yourself and stay out of trouble. What's going on in command? Well, I think Seek said they need someone to deliver supplies from the depot. They're also setting up a shop there if you've got some kudos to spend. And of course, that's where Governor Udicott works. Pardon me. I'm trying to manage my position, my situation here. But you shouldn't bother her. She's a busy woman, and she doesn't have your mother's patience with kids. You try not to giggle. Your mom is not usually known for her patience. And what can I do in the quarters? Well, if you need a break, she advises, you can visit the lounge and see your friends. But, she warns, raising a finger, I don't want to see you lounging around all the time. You need to work hard, too. Okay, all right. So yeah, what kind of physicality do we want to focus on? To be perfectly honest with you, I kind of would like to maybe focus on animals. I like the idea of being able to participate in some kind of ranching. So we probably will need some life sciences for that. Hello, my little potato, your dad exclaims, smiling warmly. What have you been up to today? Just playing in the fresh air. He breathes deeply and looks slowly around. Vertumna is magnificent, isn't it? You nod. Seasons, he shouts, throwing his hands wide. Oh, I missed seasons. Back on Earth, it got much, much colder, and the snow wasn't half as pretty as our spark snow. He sighs, stretching. You just wait until dust season. Both the suns will be high in the sky, and it'll be real hot then. You'll see. Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Dad. That sounds like a fucking nightmare. Right. We're not allowed to do this. Sorry. I already looked at the supplies job. Let's take a look at playing sports ball in the garrison, see what that's like, and maybe we'll do a semester or a month of life sciences instead. So sports ball will give us bravery and toughness. Interesting. And friendship with Anemone, who seems like a cool kid. A small team led by Security Chief Rhett was enough to keep the... Oh, this is all the same text. Well, we're probably going to need this stuff too for ranching and also for expeditions, and I very much want to do expeditions. Let's go ahead and play sports ball. Anemone meets you on the court. She's bouncing from one leg to the other in excitement. My brother Com is organizing the youth team, she tells you. Oh, Com for kombucha. This game definitely has a vibe, doesn't it? My dude, do you have vampire fangs? Is kombucha a vampire? Kombucha offers you a high five in greeting, then tosses a sports ball your way. Let's start with a practice game to see what you're good at. You and Anemone are team captains. Pick your team. Anemone used to practice with Cal and Mars on the ship, but Tammy, you're surprised to see her here. Com will fill in to even up the teams, but he promises to go easy on the other side. I'm gonna choose. Is Mars still mad at me? Yes. Who are you? Cal. Recalcitrance. That's a wild thing to name your kid. Physically strong boy who isn't afraid to get in touch with his emotions. Okay, here's a question. Are we picking mostly to win? Tammy is aspartame. That's very funny. Is Mars' full name Mars? Marzipan. Okay, yeah. I kind of want to pick Mars both because she is physically large and also uh, because I'm trying to get back on her good side. I'm going to choose Mars. I'll play Spiker. Mars runs to take position. Seems like she's in it for the glory. Hopefully she'll want to share some of that with the rest of the team. Anemone chooses Kombucha, of course. They bump fists. So we're equally friends with the two of these? Like we don't know one of them spectacularly. No, we know Tammy quite a bit better than the other. But Cal's strong. Cal is described as physically strong. What if we won though? I'm gonna take Cal. Hopefully this won't upset Tammy. Mind if I play goalie? He asks. Sports ball is fun, but it feels mean to score against the other team. Oh, you soft little cinnamon roll. Okay, yeah, that's fine. You face off, 3-on-3, and it's time for a toughness challenge, which I'm not actually great at yet. Story challenges have 3 rounds instead of 1. After every round, you'll keep the cards you didn't play and unlock an extra slot. Okay. So losing isn't always a bad thing in story challenges, but also we're trying to build a hand for the future rounds. I can see my whole deck, right? So I have 3 of my 4 blue cards already. We can't expect blue to get all that much better, and I think I am fine just going full blue. If our total goal is 27, putting down 11 in the low scoring round feels pretty all right. And Tangent is helping us to strategize. So this blue card's pretty bad, right? But we have a bunch of zeros. And then I guess we're going to throw down... what is my... Do we have the same number of yellows and reds? We have more reds. So I'm going to... Here, let me rearrange these. So that there's a yellow on the outside. That's only +7, but we're likely to draw a fair number of reds. Yeah, okay. What is push through? Put the ones together. There we go. I dig this. I like this system, trying to like match the suits for flushes and stuff within the like being able to do your runs and your sets within each other is really cool. All right, 8 point of toughness gained on top of all the other stuff we're getting. Cal makes an amazing jump save, but is winded when the ball hits him in the chest. The score is tied, with Anemone and Calm putting the pressure on. Then, blam, you score the match point with a rad spike all the way from the net line. Those are words that probably mean a thing. So we got some kudos. We got... Ooh, playing sports ball set neighbors to this value. I wonder if that fires when you play it or when you lock in the... It's probably when you lock in the hand, right? It's got to be. All right, you worked well this month. Get all them stats. And a point of friendship with Anemone. This is definitely not the way I usually play characters in these things. This week you had a few more bouts of deja vu, remembering what somebody is about to say or do just before they do it. Sometimes they actually do it, but not always. This morning you were sure Professor Hal was going to trip on the uneven floor in the cafeteria and spill his plate of hash browns. You even told Mars to watch. He didn't, though. As Professor Hal walked away, his hash browns safe for today, Mars called you a liar and a dummy. Well, that's harsh. I'm a liar, but dummy feels like a lot. At night, your dreams are all mixed up with stuff that you know can't be real. You're chased by monsters the size of buildings, only to be saved by strange people you've never met. You're holding hands with someone you love. You're crying as you help lift a shrouded body into the colony recycler. Everything seems so familiar, but when you try to recall their faces when you wake up, they're smeared in your memory like wet paint. But what if What if those things haven't happened yet, but they will someday? Anytime you try to tell someone, they think you're playing a trick, or that you're sick and need to go to the med bay. That's fair. I did suffer a pretty serious head wound. You eventually decide to stay quiet about your strange dreams. No, I don't want to do that. All right. Well, apparently we're doing that. Why? I think it's so that people will stop trying to put me in the med bay. I would like for it to be a little bit more selfish than this, just so like people will stop treating me badly, right? But like, and not that they're treating me badly, but still stop treating us in a way that's like unpleasant. But these are all... That's kind of, you just want to be normal, but it's not really. I don't want to be normal. I just want people to lay off. I'm going to choose secret powers are fun. You start keeping a private journal on your holopalm, recording the events where you remember something before it happens. You also write down your dreams when they have that feeling of being real. You like the idea of being magic and seeing the future, but some of those dreams are very scary. You hope that, like Professor Hal's hash browns, they don't all come true. Okay, late quiet. Okay, so this is our calendar, the circle around the portrait. I'll tell you what. We're about an hour into this episode. I think this is probably a pretty good place to stop for now. That's the thing. That's the deal. That's the game that is I Was a Teenage Exocolonist. I'm excited for this. This seems like it's going to be really cool. My hope here is to produce approximately 5 episodes of roughly an hour of gameplay each every week. So come back next time tomorrow, or maybe later today. We'll see. We'll see how my time management goes for more of this, and we'll see you then.